Hello, how are you? My name is Larry Mabry. Today in this video, I'm going to cover restorative circles. So restorative circles are circles that families or children sit around to resolve conflict. They're very, very powerful. Today I'm going to show you 6 ways to use restorative circles or the effectiveness of restorative circles to solve conflict in your house. Okay. All right. So when you think about a circle, um, trying to think of my ring, for example. I'll just use that example. So I'll take off my ring. You notice the circle. It doesn't have any edges. It doesn't have any points. Very, very powerful tool to use. And the reason why it's important to use a circle is because anybody who's sitting in the circle feels comfortable. There's no power struggles. There's no situation where people are feeling like they have to prove anything. It creates an ambiance of calmness, of tranquility, peacefulness, things of that nature. And it's very important because if you have children sitting there, you want to create a situation where people feel comfortable and they can express themselves. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you 6 ways that you can use circles to be effective in your household or in the classroom. All right. Let me share my screen here and show you. Okay. All right. So 6 reasons to use restorative circles practices in your home. The first thing you want to do is when you have a circle, well, actually, let me talk about it first. What you want to do is you want to have everyone sit in a circle. And then when they sit in a circle, um, they can sit, be comfortable. You don't want to be too close, but be in a comfortable position. And then you want to get something like this. It doesn't have to actually be this, but you want to have a talking piece. Okay. And the reason why you have a talking piece is because the person who has the talking piece is going to be the only person speaking. All right. Very, very important. So if you have a family that's very competitive, or if you didn't learn communication skills, this is very, very powerful to create an area where people feel comfortable and they can express themselves. All right. The second thing you want to do is you want to make sure you set the rules of the circle. So the first thing you want to do is you want to talk about the norms. For example, the only person who's speaking is a person with a talking piece. You want everyone to listen from their heart. You don't want people to, just like not really listen to people, but that's going to happen. But what's powerful about this is as it goes on around, people kind of feel a little bit more comfortable and then they'll express themselves. But you want to make sure you set the norms. Make sure that people realize that the norms are very important. So, for example, the person who is speaking is the only person that has a talking piece. The second thing is make sure everyone is listening with an open heart. The third thing I would say too is really important is to make sure that everyone is respectful. Okay, and just have fun with it. All right. So 6 reasons to use restorative circles practice in your home. First thing it's going to do is you're going to build a relationship. A lot of times, if you have a situation in a family where there's conflict, people don't feel like their voice is being respected. The fact that you have a talking piece and you're speaking and people are just listening to you, very, very powerful. Another thing, and I don't have that on here, but if you have children, it's going to teach them how to listen. Okay. As parents, sometimes we speak at our kids, but they don't know how to listen because we're speaking at them. And a lot of times, because we're the parent, we're not hearing them out. And we want to make sure that they have a voice too so that they can be respected. All right. So it's going to build that relationship. All right. The second thing is it's going to give people a voice. Well, the child's going to feel very, very, very like powerful and empowered if they're able to speak their mind and they don't feel attacked. So the fact that they have a talking piece and they can speak from their heart and nobody's judging them, it's going to give them a more encouragement for them to speak more, especially if you have that child that doesn't want to speak, okay? Because they feel like, man, every time I speak, I'm shut down, and you don't want that. All right. The third thing it's going to do is going to promote well-being. What is that? Well, think about yourself. You tend to like people who make you feel comfortable, right? And I think as a parent, sometimes we forget that even though there are children, they're still humans. And we want to make sure that the child feels comfortable, right? And we feel comfortable around people who make us feel comfortable. So we create this space where people can speak, even though we may disagree, we don't mention anything, we just listen to it, then we're better able to help them in that situation. So we want them to feel comfortable. We're trying to teach them how to demonstrate things in their life so they could have well-being. So we have to model that. Okay. The fourth thing is it's going to empower change and growth. Well, how is that? Well, if everyone's sitting around a circle and everyone's listening, and then the person who has a talking piece is the only one speaking, you know how powerful that is? One, you're going to actually hear what's going on as far as what your child is thinking, truly from their heart. Two, because you have an open heart, it allows you to basically really reflect on yourself and what you can do. Okay. Three, there might be some things that you might want to address based on what you heard that you may not have heard because in the past you were going back and forth with your child, right? Okay. Third thing is this. A lot of times we want our children to be responsible, but we forget as the parents, we have to model responsibility, right? A lot of times we're working hard, paying the bills, doing these different jobs, but all they see us doing is leaving and coming back. They don't really see responsibility. But this is helping the emotional responsibility. The fact that we sit down with our child, we take the time to hear where they're coming from, we take the time so that we can express ourselves as well. So it creates a huge amount of responsibility. Okay. And also accountability because the fact that you're sitting down and you're taking the time to hear, one, you're able to understand where they're coming from. Two, they're able to understand where you're coming from. And then you guys can kind of meet in the middle. Okay. Six, and the most powerful thing is it creates a safe space. A lot of times, you know, especially if you have teenagers, you may go back and forth with your teenager, or, you know, let's say you got a middle school or a middle schooler, right? There could be a lot of conflict with the different age groups. So you want to make sure you create a safe space, right? And again, it goes back to the responsibility. How do our children learn? They learn from us. Now, are we going to teach them how to argue? And this is not to judge anyone, or are we going to teach them how to handle things responsibly? Okay, so I feel like this is very, very powerful to create a situation where children can listen, we can express ourselves, and we create harmony and cohesion within the family. Okay, so if you thought that this is beneficial to you, feel free to subscribe, click on the link below, and I'll be posting more videos for things of this nature. Okay, guys, peace and love. Deuces.